right. Welcome to Writing Happy Hour. This week we have the amazing E.M. Kaplan, or as her friends call her, Emily. She has single-handedly rekindled my love of mystery. So I want to touch on all the Josie Tucker stuff, but also just your hilarity in general, your work with the Authors and Dragons crew, which I was actually listening to one of your podcasts, or one of the episode where you were with the Dolly Parton Bard and everybody, which was fun. Your main character in the series that you your mystery series is a food blogger, and she takes us through this whole visceral experience with every meal that she has. And it's kind of ironic because she has like stomach issues, but she's a food blogger. So why don't you have a food blog? The way you write about food, it makes me want to eat. Like,
well, it's probably obvious from reading my stuff that I do love food. And my dad's family, they're Chinese, and they used to own a restaurant in Ohio, in Southern Ohio. And when I was growing up, I wanted to become a chef, and my dad was like, there are two things that I hope you never do in life, and one is go into the restaurant business, and the other is military, which he was also military, and he knew that there were probably better things that I could do that weren't as tough on me. Like it was a protective wish.
yeah.
So I was fine with that. And it turned out that I liked writing about food more than actually, standing in the kitchen for hours and hours and chopping and being a sous chef and all that stuff, or a line cook, or a whatever.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense, because you get to enjoy the best part of it and not have to go through the grueling process of
so I do like making food, and I could say it's laziness that I don't have a food blog, but it's more just lack of time. I do have this, as one of my coworkers said, a poorly maintained YouTube channel where I eat weird things.
I haven't even seen that, man.
Yeah, it's well, it is poorly maintained as advertised. And I eat things that people send me, like I don't know if I posted the latest one, which is larvettes, little.
What? I think maybe I have seen a post with that in there.
Yeah, one of them, my most popular video was the Swedish fermented fish that comes in a can. It's so pungent, and it's so rotten smelling that you pretty much have to eat outside, because it's terrible. It's really terrible.
Oh man, when I went to Hawaii, my husband and I bought a bunch of those flavored crickets. They have like ranch flavored, like dried out crickets and mealworms and all kinds of little stuff, and you can get barbecue flavored ones. And we bought a bunch of those and brought them home for friends and family, because that was just like you would never find anything like that. And there, it's at every corner market, gas station, just like chilling in line next to the Tic Tacs. And you're like, oh my God.
Yeah, in fact, I have a pack of barbecued crickets, barbecue flavored, that someone just sent me. So I have I have a promise unfulfilled. I
don't know if I could get past the legs. Is it just like,
I know.
Does it just crumble apart when you eat those, or?
I think it's mostly crunch. Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, the antenna. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look that up and watch your food videos that I didn't even know you had. I was watching your dance videos, like your
oh god, yeah,
your little like home workout stuff.
And for 4 years I taught dance fitness, and I stopped actually right before the pandemic happened, so I didn't even have to worry about trying to fill classes when people were starting to wear masks and get sick and all that scary stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm not a spring chicken, and I'm not totally lean and fit. But it turns out that as a dance fitness instructor, I had a real appeal to a certain demographic, the people who are, scared of the gym or injured, coming back from like huge weight changes or anything like that. People who just liked music and wanted to move. So
yeah, my husband used to make fun of me because I used to go to like one of those water synchronized dancing classes.
Yes,
and all of the other people in the class were like 70 years old, and I'm just like, I love my little old ladies, man. They're great.
Totally.
They're hilarious.
I am. Yeah, I am with you. I love it.
Nice. Well, cheers to Josie Tucker, because we are about to unveil her mysteries.
Yeah, cheers. I've got Tequila Sunrise, and I even was fancy, and I had grenadine. Yeah.
Nice. My husband's not here to bartend for me, so I put a bloop bloop of gin with some ginger beer and some frozen fruit.
Nice.
Lavender simple syrup. So I don't know what to call this, but it's fruity and it tastes good. So
you should name it. Maybe it's
we should name it something Josie Tucker related. We'll have to think on that episode.
Yeah, cool.
So you've got a lot of books and reviews under your belt. Has there been ever like a fan interaction that really stuck with you over the years?
Well, I've had some amazing fans, and people are so kind. And during the before times when we were allowed to have conferences and book shows and stuff like that, I did have people who kind of followed me around from one book show to book fair to the next and say, do you have a new one? And like I would start to recognize them by face, which was totally amazing and really cool. But the one fan interaction that I'll never, ever, ever forget is when I started advertising on Twitter. I got a lot of followers all at once, like an incredible amount. And not all of them were book lovers. I don't know what the heck was going on.
Ooh, a lady with glasses.
Yes.
Hello.
Yeah. And I used to have a post office box, thank goodness, set up for, contact information. And I actually got a sex toy in my post office box. And so an
admirer. Like an avocado. Yay.
Yeah. An admirer sent me a sex toy, so that was interesting.
That's sweet.
Thoughtful, maybe. I don't know.
So thoughtful. Are you going to be going to Authors and Dragons Con this year?
I am planning on it. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I was going to, but we're going to be moving during that month, and I was like, man, that's just too much stuff all at once.
Yeah, it's crazy. And plus, with people just kind of emerging from their quarantine and their caves.
Yeah.
We'll see who's able to show up, hopefully.
Yeah, I was telling Rick, I was like, are you going to be like socially anxious being in a big group of people after, we've all been kind of like hiding in our writing caves for the past year and a half. So
right.
It's going to be weird being in a room full of people. You're going to feel naked, without your mask. It's going to be
right.
My husband just got the COVID vaccine. He got the Johnson & Johnson one that's like all of it in one shot.
Yeah, I got that one.
Oh my God. It knocked him on his ass. Were you super sick for a couple days?
I was mildly sick with like chills and a really bad headache. I did not get the whole effect that I know a lot of people did from that one. So
yeah, he normally, takes a shot like a champ. Like he gets a flu shot. He was in the military, so he was always getting vaccines. But man, this one really packed a punch for him. And he was, fever of 104 and just body aches and laying in bed sleeping for 2 days.
Yeah, a lot of my coworkers had that same thing, and I felt horrible for them, but I was like, it's working. It's working. Yeah. Just tell yourself it's working.
Oh man. Yeah. And two, I would still rather get it all in one shot than have to get multiple pokes. So I would rather just be sick and not have to get stabbed multiple times, because I'm not a fan of the needles.
Yeah. But for anybody listening, if you still need the shot, just take the one you can get.
Yeah, that's true. Whatever's available.
Yeah.
What are your top 5 favorite books?
Oh gosh, I was thinking about this. You fed me the question, which I totally appreciate. And there's two that I read over and over, which is kind of silly. I always go back to Pride and Prejudice because I'm a goofball nerd, and
No.
and I just like the subtle humor of it,
Yeah.
and how I know nothing horrible is going to happen. I think that's the whole thing about romance in general.
Yeah.
You're
The
promised a
stakes,
happy, yeah, you're
the
promised a
stakes
happy
are not
ending.
life and death. It's about, just who's going to live happily ever after. And
Right.
yeah.
Right. You can just relax.
And even if there's like not a happy ending, it's not the end of the world. It's just,
Yeah.
my classic go-to is The Count of Monte Cristo.
Oh,
So
love that one.
I like some of the oldies too. Treasure Island was another good one that I read when I was little, and pretty much anything Edgar Allan Poe, because I was an angsty teenager like all of us.
Yeah. I'm actually working on a story for a Poe themed anthology that should come out not for a while, but it's coming from Falstaff Books
Oh,
eventually. Yeah.
that
So
is a cool little publisher that they put out so much stuff.
Yeah. I don't know how many titles they published in 2020, but it was a huge amount for a small publisher. And yeah.
And they have 1 month out of the year where they actually accept manuscripts from people without agents, and then the rest of the year you have to have an agent. Yeah, I was actually looking into that because
yeah,
they have a lot of great stuff. All their covers look really cool. They have a bunch of different genres that they work in.
Yep. And special secret insider knowledge, they are working on a mystery line that I'm going to be part of, that will come out soon, maybe this summer.
That's really cool. Congratulations on that. That is
neat. Thank you. Super exciting.
Well, cheers to Falstaff Books, man. That's awesome.
Definitely. Sorry. And if you come to Authors and Dragons Con, you can meet John Hartness, who is the publisher for Falstaff Books, and chat with him. And I got a contract with him at a bar.
That's the best kind. That is the best kind of contract to get, is the kind that you sign on a cocktail napkin.
Yeah. Plus, he's the nicest guy ever. So
I like watching his Magic the Gathering, like he unboxes cards, and I just like sit there and watch.
Yeah.
Talk about nerds, man.
I love his videos where he gets on complaining about something or other, and
his rants.
Yeah. He's got his cat. He's got his long hair, slick back, and
he's definitely Bubba the Monster Hunter, like in real life.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Do you have any writing tips for writing those steamy smooching scenes that are in Josie Tucker? Because, well, like even actually in your fantasy series, the Unmasked books.
Yeah.
I actually only have read the first one, so I'm talking like I read all of them. I didn't, but the first one, there was a disclaimer, like a trigger warning for some mature content for some smooching scenes. So I was expecting it to be like super, tight-lipped or something, and it was actually kind of sexy. I was surprised how far you were able to like push it without actually showing anything explicit. And it was,
with the Unmasked series, the trilogy, I'm friends with a lot of librarians, which probably doesn't surprise a lot of people.
Not at
all. And one of them is especially a YA librarian for high school. And I want to make sure that this series could be placed in a high school library. So I was quizzing her, at what level, how steamy is too steamy? And she's like, well, let me tell you, YA books can get pretty explicit these days. With like, and she had like a metric for like how many curse words roughly, and how much is too much. So I was trying to be acceptable, but I tend to add steamy scenes, just whatever I'm reading. I think it's because I like reading romance, personally, and I don't know, it just spices
It
it
does.
up. I like it.
Breaks up all the action sequences and then the expo and the conversation and the dialogue. You just have to throw some spice in there.
Yeah.
For balance. It's for balance reasons.
But as for what I choose to write, I think it's just personal preference. Like when I'm reading a romance book, I totally know when it's not working for me. Like certain turns of phrase, when things get too technical or scientific sometimes in a romance or
when
sex
it just
scene.
feels gross.
Yeah, yes.
You're like, this is a little sticky.
Yeah. Right. I didn't need to know that. It's not adding to the tension.
That didn't make me want to know more.
And I know that there are certain words that people just totally hate.
Right.
Like moist.
Right. Except, did you see that one video where they just have Henry Cavill saying the word moist?
I think I've seen that.
And I think they had not Liam Hemsworth, Chris Hemsworth too. And it was like, it's really not that bad when they say it. And for some reason, if you read it on a page, I think it's because I hear it in my own voice, and then it's just like, ugh.
Yeah. Maybe watching those videos with them is like exposure therapy.
Maybe.
You just get used to it, and you're like, okay, this is all right.
So your advice is mainly just to like, if it makes you happy as a reader, or if you imagine reading it and enjoying it, then people will probably.
And if you don't read much of it yourself, it makes it harder to write it. Like if you know what some of the conventions are, you might be able to play with them better.
Good to know. For people who don't know about Authors and Dragons, I know you did some work with Steve Wetherill on Brandon Thighmaster. How would you describe him as a character?
Steve?
Brandon Thighmaster.
Yeah, Brandon Thighmaster is this wonderfully blithe, almost naive, like perfect physical specimen of a human who is celibate.
So he just has to love himself.
Yeah, exactly. Totally narcissistic, but but he has this certain blitheness that just lets him get along with other people, make his way through the world in a weird Mary Tyler Moore kind of way.
Nice.
Where he's just, I
think that's perfect.
Yeah.
Your dog, what is your dog's name? I keep forgetting.
Her name is Naga.
Oh.
And she's a Great Pyrenees. She's named after the Legend of Korra cartoon dog.
Fluffy.
She's like a polar bear dog.
You guys, oh my God. If you haven't seen this dog, I am going to put put up a picture of her right here. She's so cute. And that one derpy picture where you were like, just take a moment to enjoy this for a second. I was just
she's
like,
looking up and her eyes look kind of bulgy.
Yeah.
So cute.
She is freaking great.
She's gonna turn 1 like next week. She's not even 1 yet, but she started out like this little snowball, this little puffball, and she just exploded. She's like probably 100 pounds.
They get huge, right? The Great Pyrenees are like a giant dog breed. I have a Great Dane Bull Mastiff mix, and he just turned 10.
Yeah.
He's gonna turn 10 on the 20th of this month.
Wow.
And oh my word, he's the biggest lap dog you ever saw. He steps on your foot and it hurts, So
like his head is bigger than yours, right? Like he's like, yeah. And he's one of the drooly dogs, right?
Yes. I actually just scrubbed all the drool off my walls not very long ago, because every time he comes out from under the bed, he shakes his face and then it just goes everywhere. And I'll hear my husband getting ready for work in the morning and I'll just hear him go, "Oh, God damn it." Because he'll just, he'll put on a button-up shirt and dress slacks because he's a manager, and he gets slimed almost every morling. It's terrible.
That is the one thing with Naga that we were not expecting, is that she has these like jowl pockets that just like, she's really drooly and
especially when she gets a drink of water, huh?
Yes. She makes this huge like slurp noise. and just like stores it in there and doesn't drink it. Actually, it's like a squirrel.
She's saving it for later. And cheers to drooly dogs then.
Ooh,
cheers. Trying to maintain a buzz. I think I'm doing okay. Oh man.
Delish.
So let's talk about Josie Tucker for a minute.
All right.
Without giving too many spoilers, how would you pitch Josie Tucker to people who haven't read a mystery book in a little while? Because honestly, I saw your fantasy books and I was like, ooh, this is something that I could see myself being into. And I started reading the fantasy books. And then as soon as I started reading The Full Slab Dead, I was like, actually, this is so entertaining. And I ended up getting the first and the second, and like it just broke the dam for me, because I haven't even been interested in mystery for ages, and it's so funny and compelling. Okay, so I'll let you
awesome. Well,
talk
thank
about
you.
Josie a little bit, and I'll stop rambling.
So my my pitch that I practiced at, like book fairs when tons of people are walking by and you want to snag someone quick and bring them in. And I'm like, hey, do you like mysteries? This one is about a food blogger who can't eat. And that's like my hook, my little grab. And it's true. Josie is a sarcastic, almost curmudgeonly young person. And she is a food blogger. And her main problem is like digestive and anxiety, which a lot of people can relate to.
Maybe that's part of why I liked it so much, because I've had tummy issues and I've had, social anxiety and stuff. And she still finds a way to like be really confident and engages in, oh man, she sticks her nose in all kinds of places.
She really does. And she for being a self-professed misanthrope, like she doesn't like people, she gets really wrapped up in other people's troubles against her will. So
it's like, she strikes up the conversations, and she's actually really charismatic for someone who's supposedly antisocial, but she's really fun at the same time. And I think part of what makes her so cool is all the inner dialogue that you have while she's going through, and she doesn't necessarily say the funny stuff out loud. It's all the stuff that she thinks that makes her so lovable.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. That's really great to hear.
And two, I love the way her and Drew interact with each other too. Like,
yeah,
the romance in Josie is pretty freaking adorable, because it's two kind of awkward, reserved people who took a really long time to go on that first date, and then they're just like, we should totally date. And then it's like, yeah, cool.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely like the friends to lovers kind of scenario.
Definitely.
And yeah, and because it's a mystery series and not focusing on the romance, I wanted to set it up for a really slow burn kind of, so I could take it through a series.
I'm still in the middle of Full Slab Dead, and I'm really excited to see where that part is going, because you kind of broke the mold and you have her being the more proactive one almost in this book. Like, she's the one that's propelling the relationship forward to the next level, and that's not necessarily traditional.
Yeah.
And I like, trying not to give away what's happening, but I think that was really neat. You break a lot of the molds and a lot of the traditions when it comes to the romance stuff, and I think that's awesome.
Cool.
What about your romantic comedy? It was like a nerdy romantic comedy thing. I haven't read it yet, but the blurb was intriguing.
Yeah. The Elemenza style, which is a play on the Elements of Style, the Strunk & White writing book that a lot of people love and turn to for their to learn more about writing. And it's I call it a Chicago-based rom-com. So it's not a pure romance. It's more like a rom-com movie where there's funny situations going on and coincidentally a romance that happens. So I have several more books set up in my mind for this series. I just haven't gotten to them yet. But yeah, she's a fun character. She she is a copywriter. So she's very, like desk oriented, kind of rule oriented, quiet person. Gee, I wonder where I came up with that.
That's nice. Yes.
But she is from an Italian family, and they're very emotional, and she's trying to fit herself into a mold that isn't necessarily her. So she's making her way also.
So that's part of the journey in the character arc, and how she probably comes to terms with self-acceptance,
Yeah. Like in the beginning, she only allows herself to swear in Italian.
That was one of the you said no vices except for maybe this one.
Yeah, exactly.
That was cute. What about the books that were like Larceny and Lies and Arsenic and Alibis? You got these like really sexy, cool covers, and I haven't had a chance to like really look at those yet.
Those are teaser covers, and those are the glimpses of the books that will be coming from Falstaff in the new mystery series.
That's awesome.
So I have written the first one, and they have it.
Where did you get this cover art? This is fantastic.
Oh yeah, I got those from a cover artist named Mallory Rock, and she's fantastic. And every once in a while, she runs these kind of like sales where she'll have like a collection of covers that don't have books written for them. Like she'll just offer them. Yeah, pre-mades, and she'll offer them out, and authors will like swarm on them, like shark and chum. And I was like, oh, I love those. So I grabbed them from her, and there's three, spoiler alert, there's 3 in the series.
That's awesome. I'll let you finish your drink before I ask my next question. What about 28 Dicks Later?
Oh, the book
what's this about?
The book that I don't know how to market because I can't market it to my mystery readers.
Everyone has trouble marketing their Shingles books. Like all the authors that contribute to this series are awesome. All of them, and they all agree that this is like the fun thing, that they write kind of for themselves.
Yeah.
But it's so hard to get people to buy it because it's raunchy, and it's so different from the other stuff you guys write, but it's it's fun though.
And horribly inappropriate on all levels.
Extremely. Like, disclaimer, if you're easily offended, don't check these out. But
yeah,
if you're feeling like listening to Nicki Minaj, you might like these books.
Yeah, the Shingles books are the brainchild of Robert Bevan. If you know him or
I'm not surprised.
His Caverns and Creatures series, you will know that he is a lit RPG writer who's from the South. So everything he writes is informed by growing up with some pretty amazing racist people.
Yeah.
And he loves to cross all of those boundaries in the name of calling them out.
Yeah.
Like he's been accused of being, some pretty horrible things himself, but he's not.
Yeah. I've been following him for years and years and years. He was actually like my gateway drug into the Authors and Dragons, and he's how I found out about all you guys, because he was the first one that I read. And yeah, he is a freaking gem of a human being, and some of the stuff he writes is extremely
horrible.
Wonderfully terrible.
Yes, so true. So they opened up the Shingles series to all the other Authors and Dragons authors. I think Joseph Brassey's the only one who hasn't gone that direction, and more power to him. He's probably a paladin at heart. But and then because I was a guest host on a guest GM on one of the episodes of Authors and Dragons, the podcast, they asked me if I wanted to write one. So I was like, yeah, because I have a million ideas, but I don't know how I'm going to market this, but I'll do it anyway.
Yeah, I think Shingles will go down in history as the thing that all you guys worked on and nobody ever bought it. It's gonna get famous after you guys all die. That's what it's gonna be the Picasso.
Is that what I really want to be known for?
So it's okay. It's okay if it gets famous after you die.
So I wrote 28 Dicks Later, and I actually wrote it before any of the COVID coronavirus pandemic stuff happened. And it is about a pandemic of a virus spreading, which is pretty horrible. But this hapless makeup counter girl in a really small backwards kind of town contracts the virus, and her face breaks out in dicks. So, and all the ensuing shenanigans involved with that.
Everything that can happen will happen in the Shingles books.
Yeah, pretty much.
What about the Fandango the Fantastical? I saw like a piece of merch or something that you had going on. What's going on with Fandango?
Yeah,
Fandango, sorry.
Fandango. Yeah, before I wrote anything with Steve for the Brandon Thighmaster books, I was chatting with John Hartness, and people have been on his back to get the origin story of his Authors and Dragons character out there. And he's like, look, my schedule is full for the next like 4 years. I'm not going to get to it. If anybody wants to write it, contact me. And they were all looking at me when they said that. And I was like, what? What did he say?
Why
so, yeah. So I decided to do it. And that got the ball rolling with getting the contract after that with Falstaff. So that was my first foray into writing something for him, which was pretty awesome. Yeah. And I was friends with Bevan before, maybe a year or two before the podcast started up. And then so I've been listening since the beginning, because he didn't think that anyone was going to listen. So he's like, you should listen to this. So someone does.
Nice.
Yeah. So you
played D&D then before.
No.
Okay.
I have not. Yeah. And I didn't start playing D&D until like a couple of years ago. And I got pulled into a game with, the first time I ever played was on that podcast. Went GMing episode 42, which has Brandon Thighmaster humping a tree. The infamous tree episode. That was the first time I had ever played, which is crazy that I even agreed to do that, because I'm a total introvert too. And I'm like,
yeah, that's terrifying. Okay. Having to like tell a story out loud and making things up as you go. Like, I'm horrified of being a GM. I've done it, but I was extremely inebriated when I did it. I don't remember how it went. I think there was
it was probably perfect.
We all had a great time, so at least there was that.
That's the main point. After that, I was pulled into an actual Monday night game regularly with Rachel Carr, R.E. Carr. Oh. And I've been playing with her and Nick Olivo, who is another author, and Sue London, who is a romance author. Who else is on there? And her husband, and Rachel's husband. So we're just like this. We don't record. We're just a bunch of goofballs on Monday nights figuring things out.
There won't be a comic book about this. There's not just a Chronicles of Calamity episode.
No, but then we had this idea to make an April Fool's Day episode of the Authors and Dragons podcast. We're like, we're just going to show up with Drew, and we're all going to play female versions of their characters. Like, I was going to be Claudia Richter.
Okay.
And we were going to have like a Brenda Thighmaster. But we all got pulled in different directions. It never happened. And then they approached us again, or somebody, I can't even remember how it happened, but suddenly we were making the Calamity Jane spinoff with a bunch of female authors.
That was neat.
Yeah,
that was something new. It's been around. I just haven't seen it. Like, I don't watch religiously enough to see all these cool little side quests that you guys have gone on.
It's getting a life of its own. It's super fun though.
Oh man, like if there are any Dungeons and Dragons fans out there, you guys have to check out this podcast. I'll link it in the description when I do this. But man, I think that's pretty much all the questions that I had to ask. Do you want to take a minute to like go through the stuff that you're promoting right now, what you've got going on? Full Slap Dead, definitely. You're gonna want to pick that one because that was the one that sucked me in.
Yeah, Full Slap Dead has gotten is the Josie Tucker book of mine that's gotten some really good critical comments on it from Publishers Weekly, which is almost unheard of for a self-published author. As I was at the time. Now I'm a hybrid author. But if you would like to check out a book of mine, definitely go get the Brandon Thighmaster and some other guys book. I wrote it with Steve, and it's just hilarious. You don't have to be a fan of the podcast to enjoy it. It's just goofy, fun retelling of the Aladdin and Alibaba and the 40 Thieves tale with Brandon Thighmaster.
That's wonderful. I can't wait. And also, like, you're Unmasked. I don't feel like we really touched on how cool this series is about this girl who is able to manipulate light and subtly like change her appearance, but her powers get bigger throughout the first book and throughout the series, I'm sure, where she's able to do more than what people are expecting. These people who are called masks that can wear disguises and do magic. It's pretty fucking cool. So definitely check these out too if you're more the fantasy flavor. And of course, definitely do the mystery if you're just looking for something fun and funny to like relax and unwind after a long day. Josie Tucker is perfect for chilling out after after a long day at work. So I want to thank you so much for all the hard work that you have done making these great books and coming on here and talking to us today, because it's been really awesome getting to know you.
Thanks so much for inviting me. It was super fun.
Awesome.